Hello and welcome to today's live community conversation and rebroadcast if you're catching this a little later. Today we are going to be talking about getting back on track with our habits. And I have 5 tips for you and a couple of book recommendations. If you find that you are in a place where you have fallen away from some of the healthy habits that you might have established, let's say in the beginning of the year. So welcome if you're new. My name is Diane Parham. I'm the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman. Welcome and congratulations to all of our October course members. You guys are off to a great start. And I'm also the creator of the Midlife Mindset Shift, where we specifically work on creating habits and shifting our mindset so that we can create a life that will allow us to look and feel our best and do that most authentically. So welcome if you're joining us for the first time, perhaps. Please take a second to follow us here on Facebook. We are on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. Make sure you are set up to get notifications if we go live or upload new content. You can just do that by setting that default notification to getting all notifications. And if you're joining us on YouTube, I always ask if you take a second, if you haven't already done so, to please subscribe here to our channel and make sure you hit that little bell notification so you will also be notified about new information. Okay, so like I said, this is the time of the year where a lot of us fall off some of those habits that we created so successfully, we're able to follow so successfully, maybe in the beginning part of the year. A lot of that has to do with just life happening. Also, there's a little bit of like boredom and routine, no pun intended, that sets in that makes us feel less enthusiastic about maybe some things we felt really enthusiastic about at the beginning of the year. And that's totally normal. So I don't want you feeling like there's something wrong with you, or I don't want you spending a lot of time beating yourself up. The best thing to do if you found that you are in that situation currently is to just identify that, recognize it, and just get yourself back on track. There's no need to stumble around in indecision or stumble around in a little self-sabotaging. If you've identified the fact that you have fallen away from your habits, that's the first step. And then we're going to follow these next 5 to make sure that we get ourselves back on track. Okay, so this is what I do every time. And yes, I fall away from my healthy habits also. Falling away from healthy habits is just part of life, right? And so, like I said, don't beat yourself up. This is exactly what I do when I find that I'm straying, let's say, from the habits that I have created for myself, and I want to get myself back on track. So that's the thing that we have to recognize first, right? Is what's the problem? Like, what derailed us? What pulled us away from what we know was working for us? What pulled us away from what we said we really wanted in the beginning? Once you identify the problem, then you can start working on getting rid of that so that it's not going to continue to derail you from what it is you say you want, or those habits that you were enjoying maybe at a earlier time. The other thing about identifying the problem is sometimes we establish habits that weren't really serving us, and so we kind of fell away from them, but we feel guilty in our mind about not following those specific things anymore. So make sure the habits that you are identifying as the ones that you want to follow are the ones that are really going to serve you. And that's step number 2, right? Identify the habits. So if you're feeling like you pulled away, make sure that you know what it is you're pulling away from. So in the comment section, let me know, are you in a place here in October of 2021 feeling like you've maybe strayed away from your habits, or your habits aren't as like defined and refined and just part of who you are because you've been distracted by life? So let me know in the comments if that is you. Just say habits in the comments, and that way I'll know what we're talking about here. So identify the habits that are making you feel like you're off track. This is what I call pen to paper work. It will serve you to treat this like it's a project, right? So don't just let it be fleeting thoughts in your mind. You really want to make sure that you are working on this on pen and paper. I love to use my passion planner. So this is where I identify all the things that I want for the year anyway. So what I often do is I'll go back to, and I do this very specifically every year when I set up my planner, I write down all of my goals and I make it like a nice picture that I can go back and reference. And when I am getting to these two items here on getting back to my healthy habits, I always go back to here, like what inspired me at the beginning of the year, right? And I just redefine that for myself. If you don't have a passion planner, the word passion is key when you're using this device. It does help you stay on track with your goals. So the 2022 passion planners are coming out tomorrow, I think. I have a code. It's DYANN10. I'll type that in the comment section. Get yourself a planner so you can write these down. This is going to be another one of the steps, right? Identify the habits. And then number 3, create and return to routines. And this is where this comes into play. I go back to the routines that I had in place, or I'll segment my day into like morning, afternoon, evening routines. When you have a routine, it creates what I call habit triggering, right? So you do one thing and it triggers you to do the next thing, and it triggers you to do the next thing. And before you know it, your day is full of all the habits that you have set up for yourself. So this is why I am really, really adamant about making my bed first thing in the morning. It's the first, believe it or not, healthy habit that sets my brain up for success and a feeling of accomplishment. So in the comment section, let me know, do you make your bed every day? Just put yes or no. Making your bed is just a trigger to your brain that you are caring for your personal space and you have accomplished something first thing in the morning. That's what making your bed does. So what you want to do is create or return to those very simple things that will set you up for success so that you will have that feeling throughout your day. If you're not starting your day with something as simple as like making your bed, or maybe making sure your bathroom area is clean before you leave for the day. Or what I also like to do when I'm creating routines to get me back on track mindset wise is I make sure my kitchen is completely clean before I go to bed. Dish drainers clean, dog bowls washed out, trash has been taken out, so that when I wake up in the morning, I am waking up to a fresh start in my house. So little things like that can really set you up for healthy habits because it puts your mindset in the frame that everything is organized and everything's ready for you to start and attack your day. So create or return to routines. Another routine that I put into place that really helps me just remind myself that I have habits that I want to stick to that are healthy are making sure that as soon as I end my feast at night, so this goes back to intermittent fasting, right? So I end my feast and I'm starting my new fast, is no matter what time of the evening it is, I brush my teeth and I wash my face. Sometimes that's 5:30 in the afternoon because I'm done for the day, right? And that again triggers my brain that I'm closed down. I've already brushed my teeth. I've washed my face. I'm ready to start a new cycle of what it is that I do. That little act of triggering the ending of the feast, the brushing the teeth, the washing my face sets me up for an amazing and successful nighttime routine as well. So little things like that are really the healthy part of your habits. It's not always just what you eat, right? And so that will signal to your brain everything is shut down. You are ready to fast, and it really does help you get a great night's sleep as well. So create or return to routines. Again, putting your routines in a place that you can track them really will help you. And that's step number 4, track your habits. I like to do mine, like I said, in my passion planner. There are a lot of apps that you can use on your phone if you want to track your fasting or you want to track how much water you're eating. The act of tracking, again, signals your brain and makes your habits conscious and in the moment. Oftentimes, if we're not tracking things, and you don't have to be like meticulous about your tracking or become like a super super strict about it. But when you track, it's just a reminder to your brain to do something. I also love having the little trick of, I'll show you guys, I have it here, putting Post-it notes as reminders around places until my habits are firmly established in my day. So I will put sticky notes on my bathroom mirror, like brush your teeth, wash your face as soon as your fast starts. Just a reminder to me that that's what I do. That's the habit that I have. Sticking little notes around the kitchen, like drink your water. Those work well because they just reinforce in your brain when you see it that that's exactly what you want to do. And then you start layering those steps. Okay. And then the last one is evaluate what worked before. Again, this is where I defer to my planner. Like I said, I'll put the discount code right here because they are coming out with them tomorrow, the 2020. I track everything in my passion planner, and I have done so for probably about 8 years now. I go back to what I know worked before. If you have been in any of my classes, my intermittent fasting class or my mindset shift course, I ask you to journal your progress in class. And I don't ask you to journal it so much for the moment, although it does help you solidify and make concrete what it is you're doing. But I ask you to do it so you have it for a future reference. For the women who have taken my intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, you know that about day 5, everything starts kicking in and you start to feel the magic of what hungry means when you're in that fasted state. And I want you to record that. And I want you to record what it took to get you from day 1 to day 5. So if you fall off your habits, you know to just go back to day 1 and repeat day 2, day 3, day 4, and by day 5, you'll be back to feeling that magic of what fasting can bring to us. Same thing holds true with my midlife mindset shift course. I ask you to journal and document everything in class so you have a reference to go back to when you fall off the habits that you've created, because it just happens. You go back, you've already done the groundwork. You could say, okay, if I start right now doing these habit layering techniques, then within a couple of days, I'll start to feel like I'm back on track again. So always make sure that you are tracking your progress and recording it so you can evaluate it when you need to go back to it. So 5 simple steps: identify the problem, what took you off track with your healthy habits, identify the habits you want to go back to, create and return to routines. Routines create habit layering. Habit layering just triggers one habit into the next habit. Before you know it, you have a healthy habit day. Make sure you're tracking your habits. Make sure you know that you are actually accomplishing what you say you want to accomplish, and then evaluate what worked before. It is easy peasy. You can get this in place within a day. Some of the books that I have used before to really help me establish a healthy habits, the OG, The Compound Effect, is amazing. This is just a book about how to utilize your day with healthy little habits that will compound into big results. Excellent book, easy read. Goals: How to Get Everything You Want Faster Than You Ever Have Thought Possible, by Brian Tracy. He's the OG goal guy. And then one of my absolute favorite books is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Very well written, clearly defined, easy to follow and establish habits. If you need to have a book to help you with that, this is one that I read probably once a year. I've probably read it 4 or 5 times now. Absolutely love it. And then you guys know the way I teach you how to read these kind of books is read them like it's a textbook at school. Make sure you're doing a lot of highlighting. Make sure you're putting tabs in your book as reminders of pages you can go to. And then that way, if you have to reread a book, you can just skim it and pick out all the parts that work for you. Okay, super simple. We don't spend any time in the woe is me. We don't spend any time in mind drama. If you have identified that you have fallen away from your healthy habits, that's the first step. Make sure then you follow steps 2 through 5. Before you know it, you will have your habits in place. In the beginning, it does feel like a little bit of work, but that's why we want to get back to them, right? Because a little bit of work will create some big results. And the big results is how we live our life healthy and how we can wake up every day looking and feeling our best and doing it in our most authentic way. So any questions? Pretty simple stuff. Yes? This is the time of the year where we just start to feel like we're getting a little bit like mentally lazy and physically like unenergized about the habits that we created for ourselves. It's just habit fatigue, right? It happens to all of us. But what I really like to teach here in this community is how we take quarter 4 of a year, or the holiday season of a year, and we really make it our most productive and our most fulfilling months of the year. It does not have to be that we lose everything in the last quarter of the year just because that's what we've done before. We can create new habits for ourselves. Okay, any questions before we bust out of here today? Nancy, habit. Yeah, sure, we're all there, girlfriend. Shlomat, good to hear you. Yes, habits. Yes, for sure. Everyone is saying habit. So I know it is one of those things that is very, very common, right? I have gone through it myself. I just came out of one of probably the most stressful months we've had all year. Kids' routines of being back in school, they're setting in as a reality, right? All the extra things that we have to do, all the extra demands that are on us. Already we have our own demands. For a lot of us, we've gone back into the workplace after being home for a while. That is exhausting and can be stressful. Life in general just feels really busy and chaotic and emotionally draining for a lot of us right now. And so we have to identify that and go back to establishing what works for us. It's okay to fall off track, but if you're not happy being off track, then you have to make the decision, get back on. I highly recommend doing this on pen and paper. If you're on my email list, I'll be emailing you guys today about the new passion planners that are coming out. I highly recommend picking one up. Like I said, I have used these 4 years. It is the only way I know how to manage and track my life, not only professionally, but personally, and really establishing those habits. So if you're looking for a way to manage your life, I highly recommend that. And then if you're interested in our Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course, I also recommend that you get on my email list. We will be having our last course in November of 2021. And then we're going to change things up for 2022. Same course, but we're just going to run it a little differently. So if you'd like to get in on a monthly course, I highly recommend getting on my email list because that will be the last one for 2021. And as always, if you have any questions for me, I am available through email. Never be afraid to shoot me an email. And then I'll see you guys back here on Thursday. I highly recommend getting those habits back in place if you feel like you're off track. If anything in your life is feeling like you're off track, it's usually because you've let go of some routines and habits. Super easy to get back on track. Just identify the problem and get them back in place. You're worth it. A little bit of discipline, a little bit of clarity, you'll be right back on track. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're following, and I'll see you guys back here on Thursday.